message? No, I think I'm good. Hello, happy Monday. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I am back this week continuing the attachment theory thread. Had such a great response last week. Lots of people reached out to let me know how informative it was, things that they could relate to. And really, looking forward to finding out this week the ways that we can begin to heal attachment wounds and move towards earned secure attachment. So, earned secure attachment, I do just want to touch on that. I believe it is different to secure attachment that somebody has grown up with since infancy. So earned secure attachment is when somebody has been operating from mostly an insecure attachment style, and then they start to change their behaviors and beliefs and start to do all of that sort of inner work and move more towards a secure attachment style. I do feel it's different because obviously the lived experience is going to be different. Most people that have always had a secure attachment are going to see the world quite differently from somebody who's lived from a different place for quite a long time and then had to change their perspective on themselves and the world. So, diving in, each day this week I'm going to just sort of touch on some different ways that we can begin healing these attachment wounds. Today I'm going to just touch on education. And so this is like the beginning, and we already have really started doing that last week just by identifying the different attachment styles and how they show up and what they feel like and look like and all of that. I often recommend when I work with people to do the quiz. So there's so many quizzes out there. The one that I recommend is the Diane Poole-Heller quiz. I will post some little slides on this later today as well, and I'll put those details in there. But the reason that I like hers, which is who my mentoring teacher suggested, is that you get like a little pie graph, and it's split into percentages of attachment based on your answer. And I think this is important because it kind of takes away that pigeonholing. You're not just one thing and that's it, that's all you are. We use different strategies from different groups all the time, depending on our environment and the people that we're with and the relationship that we're in. It's always changing. We tend to have one or two that are our sort of like strongest or go-to ones, and that's why the pie chart's really helpful, because it'll break it down. So you might have a chunk that's secure, and then your next biggest chunk might be the anxious, and then you might be a slither of avoidant and a slither of disorganized or something. So yes, I think it is really important to note that we're not just, right, you're an avoidant attachment style and that's all you are. You don't exhibit anything else. It's absolutely not like that. So in terms of education, that is the first place to begin, is finding out, which strategies are your go-to. And then once you do have that, then you can start to familiarize yourself with the common narrative, I suppose, of that attachment style. What are their beliefs, their feelings, needs, triggers, reactions to certain situations, statements that might come out of their mouth, like all of these things that can kind of make up that attachment style. To understand those is really important, and it's the beginning of learning about this and being able to make change, really. Also, familiarizing yourself with how this attachment style was created. And I know in my videos last week I did sort of touch on each one as to sort of what sort of care from from caregivers would have created these styles. So being able to reflect on childhood and start to see, you know, how did this sort of come around? Why did I create these coping mechanisms or these strategies to make sure that I was loved, belonged, all of these things? This can be a bit of a difficult process, and yeah, I do recommend if you are feeling triggered by that process, to definitely reach out and get some support from somebody who's trained in attachment theory and can support you through that, because unraveling that kind of stuff from the past can, you know, bring up all sorts of things. So it's really lovely to have somebody hold space and be able to guide you through that. Then the next sort of part of the education is like reflecting on how these characteristics have shown up in maybe past relationships or current relationships, and how, you know, they may not have been working towards the most satisfying relationship. Now that you're an adult anyway, these strategies might not be working as well. So once you have all this information, then you can start to reflect on that as well. Basically, all of this education-y stuff is really around building up your self-awareness. So the more self-aware you become, the more power you begin to have in making change. So as you identify these things, you'll start to catch yourself reacting or saying or thinking, feeling certain ways in certain scenarios, and that's where you have the power to make change. And it's a process, you know, and it takes a while, depending on your circumstances. But yes, this is just the beginning, is the educating and familiarizing yourself with, you know, what is it that I'm doing, what's not working, why did this come around, and, you know, then what's next. So starting to realize it before it's happening. Yes, so that's pretty much all I really wanted to touch on today. Tomorrow I'm going to be having a look at reparenting our inner child, another what I consider to be a very important part of healing attachment wounds. Yeah, so hope you can join me then or catch the replay. If you have any questions or concerns, most certainly reach out. Always here for a chat. And yeah, also leading up to this weekend, we still do have some tickets left for our Anchored in Connection workshop event that Shiana Lee and myself are running on Sunday, which is based on attachment theory, and we'll be learning some different exercises and activities of connecting. One of the modalities that we'll be looking at is inner relationship focusing, which I'll be talking about that a bit later in the week as well. Cool. Well, I think that's about it. I hope you all have a beautiful Monday, and